Okay, I'm back. So, I'm assuming that this lens manufacturer made this lens for a bunch of different cameras. So, the lens is all the same, and they made this mount depending on what camera this thing was going to get put on. I'm assuming this mount is set up for different focal planes from the film and whatnot. So, I'm going to take this mount, loosen these screws with my trusty jeweler's screwdriver. And we'll take that mount right off of there. Now, we unscrew this ring as well. I don't know if I'll need this ring, but maybe I will. So, this is the actual K-mount, this part here. And then this is another retaining ring that I may or may not need. It sits in that groove and locks in with these set screws. So I'm not sure if I'll need that or not. So we'll put that aside. So now here's my Holga. I'm going to take this lens off now. So we'll pop the back. Two Phillips head screws. One right here. And another one right there. So we yank that. Okay, now here's the front lens assembly right here. The lens isn't free yet though, so let me see, what am I gonna do? There's oh yeah, there's a couple of screws right there. I'm assuming this will loosen things up. So I'll pop that screw and pop that screw. And we'll see what happens here. Anything loose? Oh yeah, there we go. Oh, so there's that assembly. So there's electronics, very sophisticated. Flash sync, I assume, for the hot shoe here. Which actually does work, by the way. It fires about 80% of the time. Pretty reliable for a Holga. So, lens assembly, here we go. As you can see, a little curious part of a Holga, they have a setting on these f-stop settings. Supposedly they're F8 and F11. There's a selector somewhere, but as you can see, no matter what you select, the aperture is always the same. So it's kind of a joke, a little inside Holga joke, I think. These people at the factory back in Japan or wherever these things are made. So let's get this lens assembly out. I think there's got to be another screw in here somewhere. Any on the front? Nope. Where's that screw? There it is, down in here. So down in here there's a screw. We'll pop that out. And, oh, there we go. Screws right off. Okay, so now here's my Holga lens. Optical lens, high quality. Strangely enough, it's the same f-stop as my 500 millimeter lens, f8. So, anyway, so I'm going to take this lens and I'm going to mount it on this retaining ring. So, it doesn't look like that's going to fit there. But, what I can do is take this. Yeah, I bet you this will work. Plus, this will give me some focus adjustment. So, what I guess I'll do is I'll take... This will give me focus adjustment, which will be pretty slick. So I think what I'll do is I'll take this mount, take it over the saw, and I'll cut this outer ring off so it leaves these threads. And I'll cut all this nonsense here off as well. Cut this off, cut this off. So I'll basically have a cylinder with these threads that I can then screw this onto, and that cylinder will screw into that, kind of backwards, like that. And hopefully I'll have a focal plane that will focus. Doesn't look like I'll need this, because that's not going to fit anywhere on that. But I'm going to make this work. You mark my words. And believe me, I'm not the first one to come up with this idea. Someone else had, I've seen this years ago. And I've actually, I was on SK Grimes' site, who, like I said, cleaned and lubricated my shutter. And they actually sell a mount, but they only sell it for Nikon and Canon. Shocker. So to get this Holga lens on my Pentax mount, I'll get it. And I will be back when I get it all ground up and assembled. So I'll see you in a bit. Okay, I'm back. Now, look at this fine machining. This is what's left of that lens mount. Look at the fine detailed machining on this lens that I did. I actually did this with a roto zip and a hand file in about 4.5 minutes. Now I cut that off smooth and I filed off all the nubs, and miraculously it fits in this mount perfectly. All I need to do is get a little dab of epoxy, make sure that this distance here is equal all the way around. Not like it's critical with a Holga lens, but I cannot believe that that fits in there so perfectly like that. And then this is the actual lens, which screws onto the threads. Finely machined, if I do say so myself. And there's a K-mount Holga lens. Now, I'm going to shut this camera off. Actually, I'll grab it right here. Here's my, one of my first Pentax digitals. It's an IST-DL. It's the DL model. Pop that lens off. Won't even glue this on, I'll just pop this lens on. Pretty sweet, huh? Look at that. Holga optical lens. F8. Focus adjustment. So, I'm gonna shut this camera off and see if it'll work.